bite on that fish on the bushy stick bait. Have a look at this, they are just busting up everywhere.
Well, how good is that yellowfin action? G'day guys, Jamari here with this week's Boss Outdoor Fishing Report. So we've seen plenty more yellowfin caught the past week. That world-class fishing from last week has just kind of carried over. It's still going. Boats catching over 10 fish in a day. It's been really good. Let's shoot straight to Leaf for an on-the-water report.
So we bring you this fishing report from Bermagui Harbour after probably the best day's yellowfin fishing that I've ever seen in my life. We got a three-way on the troll early and then chucked stick baits at them on the surface for the rest of the afternoon. End up with 7 fish, all between 15 or 20 kilos, and about 50 was the biggest. What a day. If you've got time to get up to Bermagui, get amongst it. So just straight out of here off Bermagui on the back edge of the shelf, trolling some plastics and some hard bodies around, and come up trumps with 3 yellowfin tuna. So what a better way to film this fishing report than out here. We've got whales in the background. The yellowfin tuna have just been going ballistic. We had an amazing day on them yesterday, getting a fair few fish on the troll, just on those plastics and some bushy bib lures, and then the ultimate chucking stick baits at them. Just watch them smack these stick baits off the surface. We've got a great range of molossi and bushy stick baits in store, and they've been working an absolute treat. So come and get some of that action. So a couple of hot tips if you want to get yourself out and get into some of this yellowfin action. We headed to Bermagui, launched there, headed out of there and headed north a little bit, but mainly out, sort of straight out to that 1,000-metre mark is the kink. We started fishing there, trolling around there, and picked up a couple on the just the soft plastics and the bib lures, the bushy bib lures or the halcos or something like that. And then when the sun gets a bit higher up into the sky, we headed into that 120-metre mark just south of Montague Island, but stayed in that 120 line all the way up. So the fish were from south to north of Montague, so anywhere around that Montague Island in 120 metres of water, you're going to find fish. You're going to see the mutton birds all schooling up and following these fish around. There's heaps of dolphins amongst them, so the dolphins are busting up everywhere, and then the tuna are busting up in there. Some schools have only got dolphins in them, so you have a bit of a look. If you can't see a fish, just move on to the next one. There's so many of them hitting the surface, and you'll come up tight with some beautiful yellowfin tuna just like this. All right.
So the offshore fishing out the front of Merimbula this week has still been quite consistent. A lot of boats getting out there and getting their bag of flatties relatively easily. That sort of 40 to 50 metre range has been fishing quite well. Plenty of snappers still getting around on the reefs, so we are quite late into the snapper season. Not heaps of big fish around, but not lots of small ones either. There's kind of just that general pan size, and they've been pretty consistent throughout the week, so it's well worth getting after a feeder snapper. So as for the beach fishing this past week, there hasn't been much swell, so those gutters are not getting a lot of wash into them, which generally slows down the beach fishing. However, there are still plenty of salmon and tailor around, so it might be worth a crack if you find an open beach that's still collecting a little bit of swell. Fish those gutters with the wash spilling into deeper water, and you should still get after a feeder fish. So as for species to target off the beach, there's actually quite a few sharks around at the moment. So bronze whalers, lots of them getting up and down the coast. They do taste great when they're that smaller sort of size. So up and down the gutters, sort of where you'd fish for salmon, that same sort of situation. You can even just cast a bait out at times. They're not super far off the shore, and they do taste pretty good. So that's another option if you're into eating flake. So being halfway through September, bass and perch season is well and truly underway. Even though it is a little cold still, the water temperatures haven't quite risen to their summer peak. Don't be afraid to throw top water this early in the season. The fish will start looking up soon, looking for those cicadas that will drop out of the trees, so any sort of wake bait should get a bite. There have been a few fish around, so I got after a couple earlier in the week, and yeah, they were definitely ready to eat top water. Not super committed until it got a little bit later, but definitely some fish around. So that wraps up this week's Boss Outdoor Fishing Report, guys. If there's anything else you need to know, whether it's fishing, boating, or anything else outdoors, come in store, see the boys so we can hook you up.